nuclear deterrence. I hope everyone knows about it. If you don't know extended nuclear deterrence, just put your question in the chat box, so I will reply later on. So Japanese regained its sovereignty in 1952 after World War II, and after the signing of San Francisco Peace Treaty, which officially ended the conflict and allocated compensation to allied victims of Japanese war crimes. बिल्कुल सही कहते हैं कि might is right. Nuclear weapon भी इन पे यूज हुआ और इन्होंने वापस compensate भी किया. But anyways, this is how it happens in international politics. They also carried out many war crimes against China, against North Korea and South Korea when they were together. But this is how it happens. After 52, United States of America saw the position of Japan in Asia-Pacific region, and they came to this region and they established a base there. And this base has always been a bulwark against the Soviet Union in the Pacific region, and it was close in the vicinity of the Soviet Union. They were also closer to it. And of course, Chinese, another communist state, is also stationed here. They are also placed here. So it would have been viable to have a base, a strong naval base in this region, so America can maintain check on the Russians and the Chinese. Both are communist regimes. So during Cold War, it has always been against the Soviet Union. Their presence was there just to counter the Soviet Union expansion. But now in modern times, Soviet Union is over. Now the Russians are there, but the most pertinent threat for the US interest in this region is emanating from the Chinese. And Chinese, they are a huge military might. In this region, Chinese are real daddies. So they are very, very powerful. They are strong naval force. They have got strong air force. Nuclear capability is also impeccable. So they're spending a lot of money on the military modernization just to counter the US and the other allies in this region. The Japan grants the United States of America basing rights on its territory for extended nuclear deterrence, and the United States of America agreed to it. And the United States of America said, okay, fine, we are going to provide you extended nuclear deterrence against the external threats, but at the same time, we are going to use your base also. So in this way, the Japanese, for security, they accepted the US presence in this region. This pledge is not mutual. Japan is not obligated to defend the United States. So let's understand in that way. The Japanese self-defense forces are not that strong. They're only for the internal security, and the external aggression is deterred by the US extended nuclear deterrence. So that let's understand in this way. So Japanese government in 1950s carried out Yoshida Doctrine. And this particular doctrine talked about few things. It says that to get military aid, weapon and equipment necessary for Japan's self-defense, to expand the SDF, and to contribute more money to host nation support for US forces. So basically, these were the main objectives of the Yoshida Doctrine in 1950s, under which the United States of America got basing rights, and the Japanese are now spending a lot of money to support the US presence in this region. So US can maintain its presence in the Asia-Pacific region, control the sea lanes of communications or protect the sea lanes of communication, and to counter the Chinese and North Korean aggression in this particular region. Okay, let's move forward. Let's look at the security challenges to Japan in East Asia and Southeast Asia. First of all, the first major challenge to Japanese is emanating from North Korean and the Chinese military modernization. Both these states are allies, although they are not close allies like NATO, but they are good allies. Chinese military modernization is taking place rapidly, and this military modernization is going to create a huge challenge for the Japanese. Now, let me tell you, historically, Japanese and Chinese, they are not at, they don't enjoy good relationship. They got historical enmity, and the Japanese carried out many war crimes against the Chinese, previously. They carried out massive rape, massive extrajudicial killing, used biological weapons against them, and killed many hundreds and thousands of Koreans and the Chinese. So the North Korean missile threat is imminent threat for the Japanese, because it is in the vicinity, hostile nation, aggressive nation. Kim Jong-un, he's very powerful, and he's authoritarian leader. He got the power, and he's mad when it comes to the use of power. So every now and then he carries out missile tests, and now the North Korean missile capability, the operational missiles, they have got a range of about 1,500 kilometers, which can easily, cover Japan, and it can take out any part of Japan or South Korea. So this is something which is very much there, and it creates anxiety in the policy circles of Japan. Thirdly, the Chinese maritime assertiveness patrolling is also another challenge, because this region is important region for sea lanes of communications and global, maritime trade. It passed through this region. So it is, very much important. So the Chinese assertiveness, their maritime patrolling of this region, create problems for the Japanese. There are some islands over which the Chinese and Japanese both claim those islands, and in such a situation, Japan feel threatened by the Chinese assertiveness. So we'll discuss those islands also. One of such island is the Senkaku Island issue with China, over which the Chinese, they carry out, there is overlapping of air defense identification zones, in which Chinese, many times over, Chinese cross that area, and they are, intimidated by the Japanese air defense. They challenge each other frequently in this particular region. And most importantly, arms race. Arms race is taking place rapidly. Not only China and North Korea, they are developing huge maritime forces, nuclear forces, but at the same time, Japanese are also now equipping themselves with advanced weaponry